Shoot, how did we start? I don't even know. There was a lot. We
did nothing session before.
We went to the Emblem shop, and there was the Shazam spear, and I couldn't afford it, and I tried to swindle it out of her, and she was like, no, and I was really mad. We bought the orb thing? I don't know. Mark and Ethan and Anthony and Rick, the four men. They were there. And two of them are married. The other two were their other husbands, but they're both dead. Yeah, there's a resistance of something, a rebellion, Star Wars, I don't know, and we went to the government and we talked to the dude, and we were like, they're cutting down the forest, and he was like, yeah, it'd be like that. And we were like, capitalism sucks. And then he was like, hey, guards, we're gonna capture him now for no reason. And we were like, okay. And then we're all in jail, and everything's bad. And then the dude comes out, and he was like, JK, I'm good now. And we were like, are you? And then he died. And so, yeah, that's where we're at.
And I'm down 16 hit points for some reason.
Thank you, Maria. Because you all resisted getting arrested and got stabbed a lot.
Yeah, I was saying, forgot jabbing.
Hey, didn't I break someone's nose though?
I did.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
For crush somebody's skull into a wall.
Yeah, I forgot her kill someone.
Just grab him in the face and
I
slam him
forgot. The
against
dead
the
body's
wall.
still in there, right?
It's still in the office.
Wait, did he legit kill a man? Yeah, he did.
Oh, I thought it was
It was in the office.
Oh.
Bro.
All right, but we
At least
did
he fucked up
end
that guy's office.
with Commander Waller saying
Yes.
hello to Lyra.
Very kindly.
Very kindly. Yeah, very politely.
Lyra was very confused.
Lyra
and
was
I don't know where you're standing.
not having a good time. So that's what we're gonna pick up. Actually, we're gonna pick up immediately as he walks in the door. He's, hello, Lyra.
He didn't just walk in, he stabbed
He
the
stabbed
guy.
him. That's the guy I have. Yeah.
Yeah, he
dead now.
He was saying so casually, hey
Somebody
guys,
did.
what's up? I'm a dick.
But behind Commander Waller, I'd say about a dozen guards run in behind him and are all running up behind you, grabbing your chains, and have an additional longer chain that they're hooking to the back of your manacles and attaching to a spike on the ground. So how do you guys want to line up?
Pardon me while I look up Elvish curse words, please.
How close is the guy?
Waller?
Yeah, where are we?
So, when we line
We're not doing
up,
too great.
is he going to be on the left or the right?
Well, he's straight ahead of you guys right
in
now.
the middle
And you're
of
being
the door.
forced to line up in front of him. He's about 5-10. He's more about 10 feet away from you, just at the entrance. You're farther to the back of this chamber.
I will be on the far left.
Far left, okay.
The fur left.
I'll be on the right.
Are we in a line?
You're getting in a line. So you're
Fur's on one end and I'm on the other end.
So Fur, Aramin.
Friendly friends at the
Lyra's in the middle.
I'll be in the middle. I'll be next to Lyra on the
So
right.
I'm between Quinn and Peren.
That's nice.
Just vibing.
Sounds lit.
Okay. He very casually strolls in. He's got a black tinted breastplate on it, still very shiny. It's got some dents and some scarring in it where the paint itself has been chipped away just from battle and things like that. He does have that sword that he used to cut the senator in half with, now sheathed back into his sheath. And like I said, there are about a dozen guards in the room with you. He just kind of walks, kind of chin up in the air. I just have a few questions to ask all of you. It shouldn't be an issue as long as you all comply and work with me to help the Empire.
You're crazy if you think I'm helping you with anything.
It's okay, my dear. We'll deal with that in a minute.
Don't call me that.
Yes, bring us in. He turns behind him and gestures some guards, and they are carrying a large, about a medium-sized table. There's two of them coming in, and they place it about 5 feet away from you guys, and there is a chest that he has that two other guards are carrying, and they place that on top of the table.
I don't like where this is going at all.
Just don't like it.
Not a fan.
Okay, well, we can start with you. My quite large friend. I can see that your leg was unfortunately damaged. I do apologize for our roughness that we may have had of you. Obviously, not a magic user by your stature.
Obviously.
Thank you for confirming my suspicions. So my first question for you is, where are they hiding? The rebellion. We know you work for them, so you don't have to play any games with me.
For kind of like, at this point, in a very anime-esque fashion, after he's been beaten to shit, he has some hair kind of like down in front of his face, and he, pulls his hair back, and with just absolute daggers in his eyes, just says, "We are not a part of any rebellion."
That's what I thought she would say. Okay.
And why did you ask?
There's something about interrogating prisoners where they just don't want to tell you any information without convincing. Now, my friend, if I'm correct, you are a part of some of the native people?
And at that, he his eyes glaze over just a little bit as he pulls back into memory. And he kind of looks up and says, "I was."
Interesting. The bear you carry on your head, that was more than likely something given to you by some sort of ritual or a rite of passage, am I correct?
His eyes, he squints and is trying to read the guy, clearly not getting any information. And he just he looks down at the ground and just kind of nods quietly.
Interesting. So my next question for you is, you say you are not part of the rebellion, and obviously that is a lie, and you don't have to tell me that it is or isn't. I know what I need to know. But why are you protecting them? What do they have to offer for you, my friend? Why are you helping them?
And he chokes up slightly, and then looks up and says, "It is the duty of a guide to ensure that his party gets to where they need to be. Whether it is his destination or not, it is his charge. They are mine."
All right. He kind of looks you in the eye and squints and turns his head and looks up above your head at the bear fur. Takes it. He grabs it, takes it off your head. You can feel it just like it drape off the top of your head, off your shoulders. Your hair kind of is taken with it as he pulls it over your head, and he holds it in his hand, just looking at it, disrespectfully clutching the back of like the scruff of where its neck was and just looking at it.
In silence, you can see that he is now just shaking. The sounds of the manacles around his wrists are just kind of getting louder and louder. The veins on his forearms and his biceps starting to kind of bulge just in absolute fury. We are currently, our magic is bound, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he looks up and says, "If you value your life, you will return the bear to me."
I've struck a nerve, haven't I?
You've certainly struck something.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I have one more question for you, my friend, and if you answer it correctly, you can have your bear back. If not, I will keep it. Who else is fighting for them?
If I knew who the them was, do you think I wouldn't have told you by now?
Okay. He takes it and he looks at it. He puts it on the table next to the chest. We'll deal with that in a minute, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Stay right there, my friend.
His head just kind of droops, and he is now just staring at the ground, seething.
And he turns and, like the clanking of your chains, he kind of turns and looks back and just, "You would try and kill me if I kept it, wouldn't you?"
Try isn't a matter here.
Well, I won't keep it then. He turns back to the table, he looks on it, he looks at you again, throws it on the ground. He's just watching for Fur's reaction, everything he does. He has like a pouch on his arm, on his right side. On the left, he has the sword, and he pulls out like a flask. He unsquirks it, pours it all over it, watching you, staring you dead in the eyes like daggers. A smile just kind of curling up on his face, watching the rage peer up in front of you.
Fur's eyes are locked on the bottle and on the pelt as he is pouring.
He gestures over to a guard. They're carrying a torch in their hand.
Boy.
He grabs it, just watching you as he lowers it onto the alcohol. it bursts into flames.
Fur lets out just an incredible roar of just fury and anger, and he is now retching on the ground, trying to get up, fighting, doing his best to try and rip the spike out. He's thrashing, not really giving any mind to the people that are near him. Obviously, it's probably pulling Aramin around a little bit.
You guys aren't chained together. It's like there are like eyelets in the ground.
Got it.
And you're chained individually back onto them.
And at this point now, he's like trying to rip the eyelet out of the
You
ground.
can make a strength check.
Oh, please.
I can kill this dude.
Big dice.
That did not go well for me.
Oh no!
It was a 7.
7 plus your strength modifier?
No, that was with the strength
Oh,
modifier.
that was your strength
It was
modifier?
a 3.
Okay.
Yikes.
Just the pain in the back of your leg where that spear stabbed you, and the bonds are so tight in your hand, it's difficult to try and pull them up against yourself to break those chains. You can hear the eyelet kind of like tugging on the ground, the chains are smacking, but you are not getting any pull on it.
It is a good thing I have another mini of a barbarian without a fairy.
You actually? Oh wow. Well, that works out well.
sad.
And he just stands there and watches your expression.
That's so sad.
With all the fires in hell that are taking that bear from me, you will join it one of these days, and you better not forget the look on my face, because it will be one of the last things you ever see.
We'll see about that. And he turns and walks over. He walks past everybody, just kind of eyeing you all as he walks past. Just
What is fur without his fur?
looking at everybody, and he stops in front of Aramin.
Oh no.
You, my friend, have a fire in your eyes. Aasimar. Am I correct?
This is gonna be hard.
Could be.
I'm ready for this one.
All right. Well, I'll give you a chance to test that. Unshackle him. And the guard walks up behind you, and they have the keys, and you can hear him jangling, and the chains are released from you.
So with my chains being free, Aramin just sits there and kind of tests the range of motion in his hands, and then is just wondering why he got unshackled.
You could ask. You
Test
could
your,
just punch him in the face. I don't know.
test your spirit, my friend. How do you feel this should go? Will you run? Will you fight me? Will you try and comfort your friend? Decide. Now!
So even though he's yelling at Aramin, he's just like, this is nice. And still not answering anything or deciding anything just yet. But he takes a step forward and grabs out the knife that he has in his boot.
And Waller just kind of turns his head curiously at you and smiles again. I see my gods didn't search you very well.
They never do. They never do.
Yes, it's a shame. So are you going to attempt to strike at me, or are you going to stand there holding a weapon like a child?
So, how much do you want the damage to be? Because I technically don't.
It'll just be, it's a dagger, so it'll be a D4.
D4?
Yeah, a D4 plus your dex modifier. And you're proficient in it, so it'll be your dex modifier plus your proficiency bonus to hit.
Okay, let me see. So I'll go ahead and take a lunge at him with it.
Okay.
8, 9, and then what? 11.
11. You lunge and strike at it, and he just keeps his hands to his side and just dodges out of the way. Again.
So am I behind him now? Or
You're kind of
side?
to the side of him now. He's just standing there, not attempting to hit you or anything, just amused, looking at you, trying to hit him.
And what's the lighting situation?
It's not super bright. There are torches carried by a few of the guards that are in the room. The roof on top is pretty in disarray. It's just wood planks across the top, so through the occasional gaps you can see sunlight. It's about like 1 or 2 right now, so the sun is right at the point where it would be shining directly in. You can see some like the dust and the sunlight, but the torchlight is really what is giving you most of the light in this room.
So no real, like, shadowy places, right?
Not really. No.
Okay, I didn't know.
Anywhere where there would be a shadowy place is where our card is, because they're kind of on the outside.
Okay. Let me see. So because I'm at his side now, I'll sit there and I'll try to do an unarmed strike against him with my other hand. It's not going well. That will be a 7.
A 7. He like knocks it out of the way and comes up with his right arm and gets you like right under the sternum. What's your AC?
13.
13. You take 6 points of damage as he just gets you right in the chest. It kind of knocks the wind out of you for a second. You stagger back. You're being sloppy. Think. Use your head when you're attacking. Don't just lunge and attack and everything. Use your mind. Find my weaknesses. I don't have a helmet on. You could easily strike me in the face.
But could I really strike you in the face, though? Even though you don't have a helmet on, you still have hands.
You're welcome to try.
So what's the point of all this?
My amusement. Plus, if you defeat me, you have a chance to save your friends. Get them out. Maybe all 6 of you together can fight my gods. They're not the most competent, obviously, considering you have a knife in your hand. But here, I'll give you a better chance. And he takes his belt off with his sword and tosses it off to the side. Again.
I'll go ahead and try and lunge in towards him.
With the dagger?
With the dagger, yeah. I know, right? 18.
18. Mm-hmm. You lunge in, and it looks like it's striking true, but he parries it. He swings his left arm in as you're coming in with your right, bends the elbow, and stabs it back up into your chest. And comes around, and you take 9 points of damage as this dagger is like in your chest. And he pulls his arm out and pushes you down. And he just looks at you, bleeding out on the ground. Are you going to stand and fight again, or are you going to stay there?
So, with me being on the ground, how close am I to the nearest party member?
Party member? You've been fighting within the same about 10-foot square. I'd imagine you're just kind of dancing around each other. You're about 5 feet away from, it would be Peren that you're closest to. Because you're kind of lunging off to the right and kind of doing this dance. You're about 10 feet away from the nearest wall where a card is stationed.
Just sucks. I have absolutely fucking nothing but this. That's it.
If it helps, Peren is definitely like fully extended towards you, like as far as he can possibly go.
Peren's
like,
trying to help you, boo.
Yeah.
I know.
He's probably on. I think he's on one knee, like looking at you, making sure that you're okay.
So the chains are all completely metal, right?
Yeah.
No way that the dagger would be able to like break them.
You can try.
Probably break your dagger doing it though.
Okay, so I'm laying on the ground itself.
Bleeding.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to say stay down.
Stay down. Can you make a stealth check for me?
Yeah.
Why are you saying that?
Okay.
Natural 20?
Yes.
Very nice, yeah. Waller is...
I want to say
That's
stay
He's
down.
too...
We'll get him another time.
He seems to be too amused in Aramin's just pain writhing with the dagger in his chest to even bother hearing you.
I say stay down. There'll be another chance. We'll get another shot.
So with that, with Peren's advice, I just stay down and I feign dead.
Okay.
Feign dead.
How well do
Have you seen that video of the snake that's playing dead? And the guy, like, flips it over, and then it flips back. And the guy, like, picks it up, and he's like, you're not dead. And it, like, flips over. That's what Armin's doing.
Waller, seeing this,
Peren's like,
just...
oh, no, he's dead.
What happened?
What are we gonna...
Miss Keisha? Waller seeing this, he just good choice. He reaches down and pulls the dagger out of your chest. He gestures to a guard and he's climb back up. And he walks out of the room very briefly. As you're being like dragged by like the scruff of your coat and flipped over onto your belly, and they are just putting the chains back onto you.
He's back in his spot?
Yeah, he's back in his spot. Waller is outside, and you can hear him like just like a muffled yelling from outside. And Waller comes back in with his hand on one of the soldiers' like backs. He's like pushing him into the room. And he goes, and he points at you with the knife, and he goes, "This one, did you search him?" "Yeah, yes, sir. You failed." And he turns and he slits his throat and pushes him on the ground. He's
in the room. Are there guards in the room with Waller?
Yeah, there's about a dozen of them all around.
Okay.
And he just shakes his head at the one on the ground and puts the dagger in the chest. That's on the table. He opens it up and puts it on the table. Sorry about that. Lost my temper.
The bearskin still on fire?
It's kind of just in embers now.
Oh, no.
There's a little bit of it left. You can see some of the teeth that are like left on the ground. But that's really it. The rest of it's kind of in
very good
ashes.
detail. I appreciate it.
And he continues walking down the line. Once again, looking at you all, seeing fur. Are you still like writhing with rage, or are you kind of just...
At this point, he is just silent, head down in defeat. If anyone were to notice, tears just quietly streaming down his face.
Poor baby.
And he turns and he looks at you curiously on the ground. You want to help him, don't you?
I want to help them all.
You must be religious of some sort, religious individual. Peren, is it?
Yeah.
Half-elven?
You're clearly not. You wouldn't be this evil if you had a god.
He just nods interestingly. He's, I had a god once, much like you did. And he turns and he walks back over to the chest and he opens it up. And there are 2 pendants that he has, and you recognize them as the dragon pendant of Tyr that you had, and the Shantea pendant that you had, the amulet. And he like kneels down and hands the Tyr one to you. And he's, what does this mean to you?
This
Are
is...
these Perens? Like these are...
They're Perens, yeah.
Yeah, that's my holy symbol. And then the Shantea amulet I got when we were in Shantea. That is the source of everything to me. That's how I live my life. That's why I live my life. And if you touch it, you won't live very much longer.
Tyr, am I correct?
Yes.
Interesting.
The god of justice. I don't think he'll take very kindly to you damaging that.
I don't damage holy symbols. As I said, I was a man of the chain not long ago. My god abandoned me, though. Left me to die.
Wonder why.
Oof. That was before I joined the Fist, actually. You and I are not so different. And he turns and he tosses it back into the chest. And he holds the Shantea one out and he goes, "This one isn't your god, is it?"
No.
Why do you have it then?
That's another goddess's symbol.
It means nothing to you, correct?
Anything from a god is important, no matter which god.
I agree. He puts it in the chest. He walks back down the line, looking at Aramin just kind of bleeding out on the floor. I just imagine like his cape like over him, and just like this, like just face down on the ground. He like just chuckles to himself. Looks back at Fur. He walks over to the chest again, and he rummages through, and he picks up a book. And he walks over to Esmenee. Grins.
No.
This is yours, isn't it?
Maybe.
Oh, just flipping through the pages. It's an interesting read. I have been looking for a new book for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to pay you for it.
Well,
But he just looks at your book and... How much would you want for it?
none of your money probably. I don't want that.
I wasn't going to give you money.
Okay.
How much is your life worth to you?
Sorry?
Exchange your life for this book.
Hey, how tall is Lieutenant Walnut?
Commander.
Commander.
I think he's
Very
like
much Suicide Squad here, y'all.
6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
Oh, I forgot this was an interrogation. I'm sorry. Just give me a moment. He puts it back in his chest. Esmenee, correct?
Yeah.
I have some friends of yours. And
Okay.
he grabs the table and slides it over and takes the chest. Puts it down. You can see them if you answer my questions correctly. Not like your friend over there who just lost his pet.
I mean, you're going to be really disappointed, but you can give it a shot.
It's the same 3 questions as before.
Uh-huh.
Where are the rebels hiding?
Who's to say?
And he reaches down into the chest and puts a tiefling skull on the table.
What was that?
Oh, we're not there yet. Why are you protecting them?
Are we talking like the rebellion
Yes.
or like... I mean, I'm not, because I don't know who they are, but, you know,
This is not
You can
a very
keep asking me-
successful interrogation.
do I look like I've ever known a single correct fact ever in my life?
Do I look like? As you're saying this, he just shakes his head and grabs another. It's a slightly smaller tiefling skull. Puts it on the table.
What the hell was that?
I'm sorry.
You know my last question. Who else is fighting for them?
I mean, you already know what I'm going to say, so I'm not even going to bother.
You're right. And he grabs another third tiefling skull. Jesus. Elias, Zula, Ezra.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
I'll leave them here for you to see. He just...
I mean, I knew they were probably dead, but confirmation is nice, I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at these sad, tragic character moments because they're going like
Yeah.
how I thought they would go. I'm sorry, guys. I love you all.
Do you?
I do. I do. I promise. He just taps the center skull, walks over, and browses everybody again. He stops and looks at Lyra for a second. Not yet. He continues pacing back and forth, just enjoying the 4 of you that he's already dealt with, just watching it, like the stress on your face. Aramin still slumped on the ground. He stops at Quinn.
She doesn't look at him.
And he walks around behind you and he grabs like a piece of your hair at the very bottom.
Oh.
You don't have very many family members left, do you? You lost your brother the other day. You're about to lose your sister. Family's gone. Just trust you. How do you feel about that? He's still like playing with your hair in the back.
I no longer fight for them. I made peace with that a long time ago.
How long is Quinn's hair?
Long.
Long. What do you say would be like touching like the shackles on her arms?
Probably above it, like mid-back. Like longer than mine, but not like
Yeah.
all the way to her waist.
He just is playing with it more. It's kind of freaky. He's just kind of like touching it. He's playing with it. It would be a shame to lose you, and lose something as beautiful as this.
Pern is definitely struggling. He's not taking. He's like, fucking God.
Yeah, she kind of like moves herself once to try to like free him from.
He tightens his grip on it, and
Isn't
you
it
can
just
hear like
glaring
him
at
rustling in the pouch next to
That's
him.
the first time he's touched anyone. So he's like,
And
Is that
he
not spoiler?
takes the bloody Aramin knife and just whacks the hair off. Like literally, it just comes off in one clean stroke.
Her teeth are grit.
Yeah.
How do you think
She's just kind of she's shaking, but she's trying to look like she's not.
That's her hair.
It's less because of this and more because of him right behind her being
Creepy.
creepy.
Yeah. And he walks in front of you holding it. And it's a good length. It's most of your hair.
And she immediately spits in his face.
He just kind of
Got
like
that before I could.
he just takes it and
I want to think Lyra laughs.
he thinks about it for a second before
Yeah,
wiping
she
it
sure
off.
fucking does.
Oh
And
yeah.
like slowly just wipes it off his face and dusts it on some of the cloth of his armor. He rustles in his pouch again, pulls out a piece of string, ties it in the middle, turns and puts it in the chest.
What do you plan on doing with that?
Some of your concern.
Are you having fun?
I am. He walks back over to the chest, kind of like forgetting these. Turns and he picks out a book. It's not your book, obviously. It's like a very large, like heavy tome. And on the front, it says something in Elvish. If any of you guys read Elvish,
I'm not entirely
I can read it because I
you can read it. On the.
Me too,
I can
guys.
also read it.
Can you guys make perception checks for me?
Yeah.
Another natural 20. You have fucking weighted dice, don't you? That's bull. Oh, it is. Yeah.
Wow, you bought her weighted dice.
I'm fucking myself.
Wow.
He gave me
Just roll
loaded
for me.
dice. I deserve this for all the times you fucking crit against
That's true. Yeah, that's true. What'd you roll?
12.
A 12.
Second 20.
He's not really hiding it. Peren, you get a little bit more. But on the front of the book, it says orders on the front. And flipping through at the title, there are different like sets of pages at the very top left corner as he flips it. Since you're sitting to his right, he's like flipping through, and at the top corner you can see like the names of different cities that are going on. There's like Eshor, Patrana, Valkyrie. There's a page titled Rebellion on the front, on the top. And then he just keeps flipping through. And you notice he gets to the Ochana page. It's from my understanding that your sister Lucy is no longer alive on this plane, correct?
She is no longer alive.
Well, then you will have no issue with me telling my men to burn down the forest, would you?
What does that have to do with her not being alive?
I know you have a connection to her still. I know we watched you go out in that forest. We saw you come back with some sort of gusto, wanting to change things, make a difference. And we went out there. And interestingly enough, we were in the Fae. And then, your brother Jax, he told us. Haphazardly, he was very drunk. And your sister was out there, and she was calling to him. This was about a month ago, 2 months ago. So we went in there and investigated for herself, and we didn't find her, but we can see that you did. So we are going to burn down that forest, not only to destroy the Fae and whatever they stand for, but to stop the rebellion from getting what they need for their ships and things like that. It's kind of a dual purpose.
I can't say I know what you mean when you say that the Fae hold any power over this rebellion.
Can you make a deception check for me? Actually,
What if I
What
don't?
was your wording? What was your wording? What was your
I
wording?
don't do that.
She said, like, I can't say I know
I
what you
can't
mean
say I
about-
know what you mean about the Fae holding any importance to the rebellion.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. I thought you said something else.
Human perception.
I'm like,
I'd
what
rather
if-
not.
What if I don't actually know?
No. What if I wasn't deceiving you?
Just
I pretend really,
don't
hard
know.
to like. If I fail, then I really look suspicious.
When I tell the truth.
Yeah.
Actually, make a
I have
persuasion
no
check
idea
for me,
what you're
please.
talking about.
See, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We'll
Gotta
do
choose
that
my
one.
dice wisely.
You want mine?
That's an 18.
Hell yeah.
He looks at you and he kind of smiles. And, okay. Well, guess you're of no use to me then. Oh. Maya's correct. Family name?
She doesn't answer.
I'll take that as a yes. Do you know how your parents were killed?
Not under your orders, but under someone's.
They were killed long before I was a commander or a general like I am now. Back when I had just started with the fist, right after I lost my god, as I explained to your half-elf friend over there. I was stationed in Esmenee, and I had the task to roll out some enforcement. I have no idea how they were captured, but they were there. So we brought them into the center of the square, and we hung them.
They were non-magic. They didn't.
The people did not know that. Magic users and non-magic users scream the same way when they're dying.
She pulls on the chains again.
Thank you. Walks down the line again. Stops at you, Lyra.
It is time.
Yikes.
And he just... You should have stayed.
Why? So you can kill me too?
No. You could have joined me. You could have
Why
joined
would
the
I ever
hidden...
want to join you?
You could already be so much stronger than you are now.
I'm strong enough.
Not strong enough to break those chains, though.
It's assuming I want to. Why would I leave the rest of my friends behind?
He's not your friend. Some people you picked up in the town long from here.
Better friends to me than you ever were.
You can still come with me.
No.
Come to Esmenee. You can train with some of the strongest magic users in the Empire.
No. Your offers are meaningless, Waller. They always come with a price.
You can see he's like visibly frustrated from this. It's kind of like grits his teeth. This is the first time you guys have seen him like show emotion rather than just like smile at your pain. This is my last offer.
I've already given you an answer. It's just not the answer you wanted.
Clenches his fist on the ground, in his hands.
Interesting to see I mean that much to you.
You were something that was lost that the seer, was not happy about. And I was punished heavily for losing you. And if I could bring you back, that could change something. But when I went to collect you, my parents said they had no idea where you were.
They weren't lying.
They cried. I had my guards seal the doors, burnt the house to the ground. Your mother screamed the entire time. Your father didn't make a sound. Couldn't even find his body afterwards.
If you're trying to torture me with the fact that they're dead, I'm already aware.
And he just walks away from you.
If this is your incentive to get me to rethink my answer, you're going about it the wrong way.
I have my ways. And he turns and says, "Thank you all for being so cooperative."
You can't see it because my hands are behind my back, but I am flipping them off right now.
He just kind of chuckles. He's still really frustrated. You can see him like gritting his teeth. in the back. He walks out the door. The guards follow suit. Two of them like collect the skulls and put them back in the chest and shut it and lock it back up. It's like a pretty eloquent chest, actually. It's got like black wood and like gold lining where the metal should be. It's like plated gold all the way around. The lock itself is like a deep like brass sort of copper color. And he carries it out. And then Chimoy carry the table out, and then another guy kind of like looks down at his friend. You can see that he's been crying the entire time. Looks down at the dead body of the soldier and like shakingly like grabs it by the scruff, and he's like trying to pull it by himself while the other guards just file out to a point where it's only him dragging the body up just in the room.
Are you complacent with the fact that you're working for a monster?
Look
what he did.
I follow orders.
You tell Waller that if he wants us to start helping him, he needs to help our friend.
He pulls the body out. I'm sorry. He shuts the door and it slams, and you can hear several locks being placed outside. It's a heavy iron door as well. It's not just a wooden door. And you guys are left in this room.
We're all chained up to our individual things.
You're all still chained up.
Can we reach the person next to us?
Yes, you can.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to dead, where's he at?
Oh, no.
He's faking dead still.
I guess it would be 10 to dead, because 1 is dead.
10 to Peren.
10 to Peren. On a scale of fur to Peren, where are you at right now?
Who's next to me? You're next to
So
me.
you guys are lined up. It is...
It should be Fur, Aramin.
Yeah, Lyra, Quinn,
Me.
Esmenee, Peren.
So Esmenee is next to me.
Yes.
You're doing fine.
You're doing amazing.
Come on.
Doing amazing, sweet.
Your interaction was weird. He offered you a book deal.
I was really confused.
I can sell your
As
book.
soon as you say that, Armin's like, you should have taken it.
Like through the blood.
I'm a publisher.
Like my very good manuscript.
She's an evil publisher.
I don't
He's gonna take
So what would you guys
90%
like
of
to
your
do?
profits. Fuck.
The soldering remains of the bearskin are still in front of you. You can still see the whites of the teeth that were in it, but there is like ash kind of covering them, so they're a little bit blackened.
From under his breath, you can kind of hear Fur just repeatedly just apologizing, primarily to the bearskin itself, apologizing for this being the second time that he failed at his duties, and just visibly the life is kind of drawn from his body. He's pale, and with his hair just kind of down in front of his face. It's us, arms behind our back, pinned to the ground.
You're not pinned to the ground, you're standing.
Oh, I see.
But the chains are behind your back, and there's it's like the chain, and in the middle of the chain, there's a longer chain that goes into like an island in the
Gotcha.
ground. So you still have
So we can still
movement
freely
sideways.
move. Okay.
But you just couldn't go any farther forwards.
Gotcha.
That was the goal.
He kind of, from standing, goes down to his knees and just remains in place in just dead silence.
So what are you guys doing other than
For crying?
for crying?
And Peren.
What can't
not
we
Peren.
do?
Aramin
We're all
dying for
chained
once, not
up,
Peren.
yeah.
Prince not doing too hot. He got beat up.
Can't
I'm down
do nothing.
16 hit points.
Peren got
From the
beat up.
Everything just sucks.
Armin's bleeding out like a fish, and everyone is just emotionally distraught.
We will consider
average Wednesday
this
for us.
time that you have right now as a short rest. There's going to be about 2 or 3 hours where you guys can just kind of do whatever. So you can go ahead and roll hit dice, get hit points back.
Rather restful.
Oh, yeah. How do you do
Lyra's
that?
gonna sit. Lyra's just gonna slide down that wall and sit.
Can roll.
So what would you guys like to do during this short rest? It can't be anything ridiculous because you are in the middle of a short rest, but you can have conversations, you can talk. Make sure everything is in character, please. Don't talk
Our
outside of
hands
character.
tied behind our back.
Yes, your hands are
Okay.
tied behind your
I
back.
was gonna say, are they just chained? Or
You
are they
guys
tied, or
can
they-
try and finagle ways. Just tell me what you want to do. We have
Are our feet chained at all?
your feet are not chained.
Feet are not chained.
No.
Can I do either insight or perception, not sure which, to see if the skulls are actually my friends? Or is that
They're
something I can't?
gone.
They're gone now,
They're gone
but
now.
you can make a perception check. We'll say you did it then.
Okay, if I have a +4 in acrobatics, does that mean that she's relatively flexible?
Kind of.
Only for the purpose of she's gonna try and put her hands in front.
You can roll an acrobatics check if you'd like.
Okay, cool.
Which roll?
Acrobatics is like.
It was a 12. You are.
Acrobatics is like.
It's hard to tell, but you are pretty sure that it was their
I got an
skulls.
18 and then it's +4.
Because at this point, it's like it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they're dead before.
What'd you roll in your acrobatics?
18, but it's +4, so 22.
22, yeah. Very, very easily. You kind of tuck your knees in and bring it around. You kind of shimmy on the ground and
Do one of those
some
sick,
of the sweat.
you hop over them.
Yeah. And then she's just gonna kind of sit.
Yeah, some of the sweat. And so the chain, they're still chained, but it's
Yeah.
chained behind you.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay.
Okay, cool. yeah, I'm just gonna sit
Can
now.
I continue to make some rolls to try and rip this peg out of the ground?
One more.
Make 2.
2? Okay, that's fine. I'll take 2. That is a flaccid 20.
Flaccid 20. Go ahead and roll the second one for me.
That is a 6.
So you almost get it there and then you fail.
Yeah,
horribly.
so the first time you you stand and kind of get to your feet, the wound in the back of your leg is starting to kind of clot a little bit, especially with a lot of the dirt that was on the ground. It's
They've
starting to
both
kind
been
of
bleeding all over the
go
floor.
into- Yeah, there's blood everywhere on that side of the room.
I'm bleeding too.
And you get up and you lunge forward, and the first time it kind of the manacles cut into your wrist a little bit, and that makes you even more angry. And you lunge forward again and tear it, and the peg goes flying over your head into the wall in front of you. Tinks against it and tink tink tink. So you now have chains on your hands, and
I would have thought the peg would have went from one wall.
Into the other.
Too strong.
but yeah, you are now free of your bonds, other than your hands being kept together behind your back.
Cool. I now need to think what to do with this information. Everybody else continue to what they're doing.
Peren is in
I'm getting some water.
a deep meditation. He's trying to contact Torm
Make
or any other god.
Religion check for me, please, with disadvantage because you do not have your amulet.
8 for the first. 10 for the second.
You really try your best. You're sitting there just thinking and thinking, and all you can hear is just the ongoings of outside. It's hard to focus in here, mainly because of the stress of what had happened just minutes before, and the noise that's outside. You can hear people yelling. There's people marching and things like that. The clattering of swords from people practicing. Crying, sobbing profusely. It's hard to make contact with anything.
Okay. He's just gonna keep trying.
I don't know if this would be to try to get out of the actual shackles. That would be what, sleight of hand
To squeak through them,
Yeah.
or to break them.
to get through them.
Get through them, I would say make a straight dexterity check. So it's just a roll plus your modifier.
Would it help if I used blood?
Hello? As a lubricant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would still say just make a straight dexterity check.
Okay.
Blood, not a very good lubricant.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It was certified.
The only liquid I've got right now.
Oh my
Okay.
god! I don't know what else we got. Spit, tears.
I'll say army in the corner.
Tears.
So,
That is going to be
perfect.
an 18.
An 18. It takes a few minutes. It takes a little while, and you're trying to squeak them out, and your hands actually kind of get caught in it when you kind of have to tug a little bit.
Damn,
you
he
can
should
feel
not
it,
have left us in
scraping
here.
up against your the manacle itself, scraping up against your thumb. And you manage to get one hand out, and the next one you're just kind of pulling. You are able to get it out, but your hands are now just scraped up to shit.
Peren, now that he has some freedom, walks over to the smoldering pile of ash and kind of gets down and starts, with his shackled hands, starts pushing some of the ash aside, finding what teeth that he can, and starts kind of salvaging those. grabbing the large canines specifically and like turning them over. And I know that they took like our stuff. Do we still have like our pouches and things?
No, you don't have any pouches.
Okay.
The only thing that you would have on you is what little armor you have.
Gotcha.
Like Peren, you don't have your shield, but you still have your armor that you had.
The one with the hole in it?
No, not that one. You got scale mail, remember?
Oh, they gave it to me? Okay,
Yeah,
I
you
thought I
got
had to
because
pick it
he
up.
just gave it to you right
Okay,
there.
cool.
It was your battle axe and Fur's warhammer that you
That
got
I
at the end
left,
of the
yes.
day.
Okay.
Um,
So it's your-
10
but
plus
can you make
your
an
percent.
investigation check for me, please?
Yes. That is a 10.
10. It's pretty hard to find them. There's a lot of ash, and your eyes are kind of welled up, and the heat. There's still like a residual heat in the ashes,
Sure.
like soaking through it. It kind of burns your hands a little bit, and your eyes are still a little welled up. But you are able to find, I'd say, about 4 or 5 teeth.
That's
We'll call it 5 teeth. So just put that in your inventory.
Cool. And he just kind of grips those in his hands, takes a deep, shuddering breath, and then stands back up and looks around at his companions. Am I able to start pulling on everyone else's chains?
It would be difficult with your chains behind your back, so you'd have to break your own first.
Gotcha.
But you could go around doing that.
Someone could help you try.
Yeah.
Lyra's hands are in front. She could help you.
That's
Aramin's out.
Your short rest has ended. A short rest is usually about an hour, so I would say you guys did that, and you took about an hour to yourself to kind of reflect. So it's been about an hour since Waller has been in the room.
Quinn has literally said nothing.
And
Not
howdy ho,
a
guess who's back?
fucking
It's
word.
Waller.
Nothing. Not a word.
So what would you guys like to do?
Can't do anything. I mean, they're out. And they're just vibing, I guess.
Yeah, if anyone could break me out, I would be happy to make attempts.
I mean, you can try and break your own chains. It would be a disadvantage because your chains are behind your back.
Sure.
But you can try. Just make a strength check, please.
Well,
Natural one.
doesn't get more disadvantage than that.
You cut yourself.
You.
That's all we need to do.
After trying to well through those, actually, I probably should have made you roll that investigation check with a disadvantage as well.
Yeah, well.
But
Well,
we'll leave it as it is. It's,
I have a little bit of
did you
as
just
a-
roll a 20?
Yep, maybe.
Either way, it's really hard. You're kind of still trying to clutch those teeth in your hand, and you're just thinking like if you let them go, they're gonna scatter everywhere if you break
Correct.
these chains. So you're kind of trying to control yourself while breaking it, and it is really, really difficult. You are unable to break these chains.
Cool. Sucks.
With the shackles, is it like this or like
I would say you have about 5 inches in between your two
probably
wrists.
like enough for a foot to get in between?
If
I
you have
were to,
small
like-
feet, yes.
Hey, elves.
Hey.
to be able to like kick the shackles off.
I mean, Lyra's feet are right there, so. He said if you have small feet, you could probably get your foot between them. So I don't know how flexible you are, but your hands are in front now.
You can just like
Enough to get
break them.
Yeah.
You can try it. You
All
want to
right.
make a strength check for me?
Your hands are not behind your back.
Use your foot.
That would
Natural
be a natural
20.
20.
Hey.
Yes,
That's like
Lyra.
the fourth one this
You
session.
just,
Lyra
like-
has a lot of anger.
You just like pull it through and like, and just like ripped it apart and
Friend
like,
wakes up from his meditation. He's like,
bits of like chain are like scattered everywhere. You still have like
Armin looks
the
over
manacles
like,
themselves. This little elven girl is like.
Lyra would just like to say that she has a lot of anger about Waller.
Oh yeah.
It's all pent up.
But you shatter it. You still have like the manacles on your wrist, but the chain and you're no longer bound.
Cool.
What would you guys like to do?
well, not everybody else is out.
No,
I'm gonna try to get out.
No, I'm not.
I'm not out. I'm just
Quinn hasn't done anything.
here.
I haven't
I'm
done
gonna try to
anything.
get
I
out.
borrowed that.
Esmenee's too upsetting.
This. Hey, is Quinn's hair like on the floor?
No,
he
he
put it-
stole
he
it.
took
He's
it.
my
Stole
ball.
her hair.
Oh, he
I mean,
took it?
I'm not too
What
worried
a
about the
freak.
because it's all up here, you know, in the old noggin. But
The old noggin.
it's all up here. But also, I worked really hard, and I don't want to have to write it all down again.
We don't know this, but Esmenee has photographic memory. And just knows
I
everything.
know. Surprise! Esmenee has actually had all the
Can you make
brain
another
cells this
religion
whole
check?
time.
Ooh, yeah.
Again with disadvantage.
11.
Another
And
natural one.
nope, yep.
Nope, yep. Yeah, and nothing.
Still nothing.
It's a great
Torm says,
D20.
no, Torm appears. And
Fuck
he says,
you.
fuck you. Oh my god, that's it.
So I'd say you guys, another 15-20 minutes passes. Just kind of,
Quinn isn't having a good time. She's like looked up every time someone's
Bro.
made noise, but she still just has her hands behind her back
Yeah,
and is
had a
just
good time.
standing there. I think for a while she might have sat down and then just stood back up, but that's all she's done.
As you guys are all milling about, doing your own things, you can. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. I'd say at this time about 2 hours have passed. I need everybody to make a perception check for me, please.
Hey, that's
16.
finally
That's a 10.
That is-
14.
23.
Ooh!
Nice.
Very nice.
21.
21.
I think they're all
got a
good now.
6.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you get, Matt?
A 6.
6. You don't know shit.
Can't say.
So,
I'd say it's pretty fairly easy to notice if you rolled above a 12.
Oh, everybody except Matt.
Yay!
so if you hit a
And
7.
me. I had a 10.
Yeah, I know. I would've been like,
You're
My
all
dark
kind of
vision.
sitting, and it starts to get darker in this room.
Good thing I have dark vision.
You're used. I should have killed Peren.
You already have many times.
Yeah,
He's
he's
still
I was
here.
waiting for
It's
that.
almost like a large cloud is passing over the hold that you're in. Fur, with your 23, and Quinn, you begin to smell a faint, like, smoke.
oh, good.
And you guys look up and you can see that there is black smoke coming from the forest, covering.
It means we don't have a pope yet.
Okay, now Quinn's really fucking not doing okay.
So who is out of their?
I don't know what
chains?
I don't know
You
what
out
you
of the
just
chain?
said.
My hands are.
She goes.
Hang on, can we
much like
pause for a second? Can we stop for just a
I
second?
said
I don't know what.
black smoke, and she goes. That means there's not a pope yet. Oh shit!
Follow for more Catholic memes, guys.
Quinn is.
How do we see this? There's a window?
There's like
Far dark?
there's like slots in the boards above in like the roof,
Okay.
and you can see like the black smoke going.
And
through.
we
all
we
I
know
see
it's from the
is-
forest.
It's getting
Yes,
dark
you guys
out.
know it's from the forest. You guys just know it's smoke. Armin, you don't.
I just know it's dark.
Yeah, you're like.
Hey, where'd the sun go?
No, you don't even know it's dark because you have dark vision.
It's
so you don't even.
nighttime.
You're just like.
It's the same.
Everybody's looking up and it's
Looks the same.
look, guys, I have my hands.
Look at that, they're all bloody. Look. It's finger painting with blood.
Simba meme.
You just go over to Fur.
Fur looks up and sees the smoke and just kind of says, well, he followed through.
With what?
What?
What are you guys looking at?
What? Quinn is not okay and starts like rattling the chains and like trying to pull, and it literally like looks with like the way that she's like moving her shoulder. It's like she doesn't care if she fucking like dislodges her shoulder at this point. She just like she's just tearing at the chains.
Make a strength check for me.
That's not my strong suit.
You're just don't aim
It's
it.
not a negative.
It is now.
It's not a negative one. She wasn't.
You're pulling and pulling, and just out of frustration, you pull so hard you actually like take your feet out from under you and slam your head into the ground. You take 2 points of damage as you just like knock your head right into the ground. It's really, really fuzzy right now.
Where
That's how
she
it is.
hits the ground and immediately starts like sobbing, like audibly, like crying loudly. I think it would be like a weird dichotomy for everyone else that she's been completely silent up until this
Yeah.
point. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Fur mentions the sky, she's like in a rage. And obviously conks her head on the ground.
Well, she gets rage now because she drew blood.
Are you still praying?
I think no.
Is that how that works? You can draw your own blood.
I'm stopped and I stood up and I'm just staring at
Can you make another religion check for me anyways? Yeah. Again with disadvantage.
That's a very good point.
17. And a 17. Jesus. I got 2 17s.
I think it's Tier.
It's Tirb.
You
It's a mix of them.
stand up, and you're just giving up at this point. Just the rustle and bustle of everything going on. Everything stops for a second. And you hear patience. And then everything comes back to normal. You can hear Quinn like tugging on the chain and things like that.
I think he just stands there and like looks up and just stands there because that's what Torm said to do, so that's what he's gonna do.
Can you imagine?
That's his flaw is I blindly like believe in my deity.
Stands
So
up,
he says patience,
hears
he says
patience, and sits back down. You know what, guys? I think we should just.
I think we're just wait.
Chill.
Let's just chill out.
so
I mean, that is a very cleric paladin thing to do. So yeah, as you guys are kind of just adjusting to your current situation.
Adjusting.
Our new life.
Wait, this is not my life now. I live here.
Peren, you hear that, and you, Quinn, and Lyra make perception checks for me, please.
I got one. Fuck that. that wasn't a
You
roll.
rolled a 9.
That was me throwing it away.
You rolled a 3!
I'll take the
should have taken a 9.
It's
Alright.
a 6, my dude.
What'd you roll?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
Oh my god, why have we only gotten 20s
It tracks
and
though because she's crying.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna perceive shit.
17. Okay. Lyra,
Bird got some dust in his eyes.
you
smashes.
are sitting there just kind of cross-legged. You have managed to just, out of frustration, snap those chains and are
The power of spite.
The power of spite compels you.
kind of just sitting in thought. And you begin to feel like a light breeze against your face. You turn and look, and it's out of nowhere. Like it's just like on the right side of your face, just a light breeze. You look to the right corner of the room, and you begin to see like some of the like loose hay and thatch, and some of like the dead leaves are like swirling
That's fun.
in the ground. And it begins to swirl faster, and from the feet up, you begin to see like green feet and like a leafy kind of style dress, and it swirls all the way up, and
Hello,
you begin
Lucy?
to see Lucy standing in front of you with her hair. She looks a little worse for wear. Her, like you can see some of her skin and dresses starting to turn like a yellow sort of color, even fading into a red, almost like leaves turning into like a fall leaf. Large, like heavy bags under her eyes. Her hair is not braided anymore. It's just kind of let flow. There are a few dead flowers in her hair. And
Everybody, like, is she visible for everybody? to
she's
see?
visible for everybody. It's just you notice her.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
you notice her.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just imagining her.
Quinn's
Sorry.
like laying on the ground
Who
like.
wants to scream this time?
Yeah.
She's in this
it's
corner, and
scammers,
Bird's like,
just don't
someone needs to close the window. It's really breezy in here.
Super crazy, man.
Looking anywhere but the one corner that she's in.
She's actually standing in front of you guys
It's
now, like
dark.
Roller-esque.
I mean, hey, I just noticed it got dark. Anyone else see that?
But standing in front of you, she's actually the first person. You're actually the first person she addresses. She walks towards you and like holds her hand out.
She takes it.
She
Stands,
like stands you up, and she's my student. We don't have long.
Does everyone hear this?
Yeah, everyone. She's there in the middle of the room.
Hello?
Oh, when did you get here?
So
Bird's like, who's that?
And
I was
she,
trying to say something about, oh, Lucy's here, but like I couldn't figure out how to do that without it being awkward.
she
Lucy's here.
Hello, Lucy?
ring the dinner bell.
Oh,
Ding, ding,
Lucy,
ding.
you got some splaining to do.
And she just.
Oh, Lucy.
And
Laugh track.
as you touch her hand, it's unbelievably warm, like almost to the point where it's like scalding your hands.
Oh, good.
And she just says, "You need to complete your training. You need to go to the Wildlands." Archmage Phelan, Ralo Lana. You need to find him in the Wildlands, and he can help you complete your training, because you are powerful, but you could be much more. I can spell it for you if you want.
Yes.
Fay Len. Last name Ralolana. She like tells you this and very quickly turns to Quinn, and she doesn't even say anything. Like you can see like a tear just kind of dripping down, and she comes up to you and just gives you a hug, whether you're ready.
My hands are behind my back.
But in her embrace, you can feel like she's starting to heat up, like from the inside, and it comes to a point where it's like really hard to like stand the heat. It's like you're being too close to a fire, and she just steps back and goodbye. And,
No.
And the fire just takes her, and she just disappears. Aramin, you didn't see any of this.
Of course not.
Lyra just kind of goes over to Quinn and just like lays a hand on her shoulder.
I'm gonna kill him. You're not alone. I'm gonna kill him.
We're all gonna kill him.
How did you break the shackles? I can't do that.
We gotta get out of here.
I can't do that.
Channel the anger that you feel.
Your anger.
Fuck you, Palpatine!
Rolls for religion.
Do it.
Can I try to break him again?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll a strength check.
I'm gonna do it too.
+3 for
I guess I
anger.
should try to break him.
+3 for spite.
I need to get
Esmenee's just sitting there like,
She's just been like,
my book.
Alright.
I'm like, I got a book deal!
I'm upset. That was a 10.
A 10.
I also got a
Not
10.
breaking.
I got an 8.
Can I give it another shot?
I'm
With
just
my,
gonna for like,
corner of the-
hey, I know you're
You
straight
can
up
roll
not
it
having
one
a
more
good
time.
time.
That's
but,
fair.
Like, can I borrow your muscle?
Hey, okay. 21.
21.
Yeah.
Yay.
Finally, after
God
like
damn it.
tugging and pulling, you similar to Lyra, you kind of have to like bring your hands in really close together, and then just whip them out really hard. It does like pull on your wrist, and the same as Lyra, you still have like the manacle with a little bit of chain on it. But
That's fine.
Question.
What's up?
Now that I am free, can I use magic?
No,
Damn it.
you can try. Dang.
How many
Well, if the answer is
times
no,
can
then
we
I'm
break
right.
out?
That's the point, right?
So, how is the magic being stifled?
You do not know. You can make an intelligence check and.
And we don't
Do
have
your
any of
best.
our stuff
You
either.
have none of your stuff.
Actually-
my thing is like
We
I
gotta get our
have Tides
shit
of
done.
Chaos.
Yes,
I
you are
can
a sorcerer.
sway fates
Yes.
in my favor. I don't know if that is the type of magic that's being stifled because then I can use that and try to hone into my wild
Is there a
magic.
specific type of magic that's being stifled? Can I still use like healing spells or?
You can try.
You couldn't wild shape.
Wild shape would be one of the things
So
that definitely would
I
be
don't have
stifled.
shackles on me. Technically tested out where like I use my magic and you use your magic
Right.
to see if
Is
it's the
it?
shackles.
Are the so
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the
you don't
room
have
is
your-
stifling
I
it,
don't
or
have
is it
shackles.
the chains? Because I still have the shackles on.
You know,
make
but
an
we don't
intelligence
know.
check.
I thought it was the room because we couldn't use a magic before we were shackled.
I
right?
thought it was the
I
shackles.
thought it was the shackles too.
Oh, well.
Because Armin doesn't have shackles on anymore. Because he
Make
got
an
out of those.
intelligence check. You said.
Yeah, make an intelligence check to see if you actually make an Arcana check.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Something I have
What are we
proficiency in.
checking? The Arcanas.
Oh no,
Aw.
that did not help me
no.
at all.
Tides of Chaos. I would say
magic.
that it
You have
wouldn't
it.
do anything
I know, but did you
because of
use
the
it?
kind of
No.
magic that's being used.
Oh,
Is it to
How
get out?
many times can we try to
So I
get
was gonna be
out?
like, did you
'Cause
use
I'm
No,
magic?
because
for that?
I
I'm so
used-
You only
confused.
tried it once. You can
Because
try
I
it again.
used sleight of hand.
Yeah.
I would say
That
like
makes sense.
once every hour, unless you have a reason to try and escape.
I got 12.
The 12, they're not breaking. So, what'd you roll in your Arcana check?
7.
7. It's really hard to tell.
Okay.
It dispel magic is very hard to locate, especially without a detect magic spell that you obviously can't use
Correct.
because
I don't have it anyway,
it's
so
not
it's
magical.
fine.
Yep.
There's no options. So
Patience. I'm just
Alright.
saying.
patience.
One's like,
Stupid god.
don't worry, look it up.
Torm can catch these hands.
Some help would be nice though. But
Can catch these
So
hands.
you're still chained?
Yeah.
You're not anymore. Are you still chained?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you
I'm
Um,
still chained.
Yeah, so Esmenee, Peren, and Quinn are all shackled still. Fur is now unshackled, and we are unshackled.
cool.
Hey guys!
Lyra
We still
unshackled
got
by
these
spite.
chains
Yes.
on.
Lyra's sitting in front of
Y'all
Quinn,
can
like,
help us out here.
Someone, like, kick my
channel
rocks,
your
like,
anger.
release me.
And she's like, I can't.
It's like, I am very upset right now.
I'm not angry. I'm sad.
Esmenee's like, hey guys, a little help. Lyra's like, focus. Quinn's like, I can't. And Pren's like, just be patient, y'all. Just be patient, y'all. Torm said we had to be patient. Quinn's like, fuck that. Good, that's good. Use that. Use it.
Use your
You
anger.
can go ahead and make another strength check if you want.
I want to use Tides of Chaos. It's a fucking 9. It's worse than the last one.
They are very strong chains.
They're clearly not though, because 3 people broke out of them.
Fucking Lyra got out of
I
it.
forgot.
Why can't I get out of it?
Okay, so like with my rock, I want to try and see if magic will actually work.
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
So, I have a cantrip called Light, which
Yes.
means that I can basically light anything for
Make
an
light, yeah.
hour. Yes.
Yep.
I want to try it on the actual rock and see if it'll work.
Okay. So it's a cantrip, right?
Yes.
So you go ahead and cast that. And you like really focus. It takes about minute and a half, and you're really focusing. You can see the rock like begin to glow. It starts to get a little bit warmer, and then it goes out.
Oh man.
Can you make a Constitution check for me? Constitution saving throw. Sorry.
Either way, it's 20.
20. You again focus even harder, and the rock begins to glow even brighter, and it stays lit for about 10 seconds, and then it snuffs out immediately.
What?
Okay, so it's
The
shackles
fuck?
then.
Alright.
Well, no, because I'm unshackled.
No, I know, that's why.
But yeah.
For the magic, at least.
Yeah.
Well, some of it. Because it didn't stay lit, but like. There's the potential. A potential is better than nothing.
We just need something just long enough to like get him broken.
So yeah. You guys want to try anything else?
I'm after the failure of that, I'll walk over to Quinn and try and kick the chain off of the wall.
It's not in the wall. It's like,
It's like on a
ground.
rock.
It's like an islet in the ground.
Oh yeah.
So you, would
You
like,
have your hands.
And-
You can just pick it up.
and a rock.
Don't.
Yeah, you got that cool rock.
You have a stone.
That's true.
Eat that rock at it.
Your hands are free. You can do whatever you want.
I love limestone. Fucking army.
Guys, listen. Found this rock. So like maybe there's something there.
It's my pet. It's my pet. It's gonna go with me
googly eyes
forever.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah!
rock.
We have animal companions and all this cool ass
That's
magic.
just familiar.
I got a rock.
I got a rock. Okay. I'll go over and try to pull the eyelet out.
Okay, make a strength check for me.
That'll be a 7.
A 7. The eyelet itself is about this big, so it's really hard to kind of get enough fingers in there to grip and pull it out. And I mean, you get about 3 fingers in there, and you're trying to tug, but it is like almost like dislocating your fingers, and even as hard as you're pulling, it's not budging.
Can I try to pull my own out? Like from the back?
Yeah, go ahead and make a strength check.
Oh, thank God.
What'd you get?
A natural 20.
Natural 20.
Oh my god!
That's my third one.
After I know your third one today. After hearing the words of advice from Torm, you sit. You slowly stand up, and just with your eyes closed, you run forwards and yank sideways, and it comes pinging out to the side of you, and you're
Oh,
able
now
to
I
turn
have
out.
one. And we can use it to, I don't know, stab someone or something.
Yeah!
Can I try, can I try to do what Lyra did and get my hands in front of me?
Yeah. Go ahead and make a
I
dexterity
don't
check.
have a great dexterity or
Yeah.
dexterity. Okay.
It worked out obnoxiously well for me.
It did.
Oh nope, I got a 5.
5. you saw how Lyra did it, and she kind of like
Lyra's tall,
laid
right?
on the ground and was
Shorter,
able to
jeez.
kind of shimmy their way over. And you're like, why is she doing it so slow like that? And you go to do the thing where you jump over it, and your feet catch the chain and you smack your face on the ground.
2 points of damage.
You take 1 point. You take 1 point of damage.
Don't worry, you get rage.
You just knocked your melon on the ground.
Nobody saw it though, right?
When I get it.
Everybody saw it.
Please someone saw it.
Everybody saw it.
Yeah. You guys are all like just
perception for
thinking
getting-
about what Lucy said, and then like friends like, watch this.
And then I just turn around and be like, what the fuck are you doing on the floor?
Can somebody help me, please?
You guys are doing this, and the sun is.
Anyone want to help me?
Esmenee's like,
Please. I'm not strong enough. I can't.
Can I try and break either hers or her chains? Somebody's. She'll get there.
Go
I believe
ahead
in your channeling the
and
rage.
make a
I only get 1 try per hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Make a strength check for me.
Okay. Let's try this one.
How long have we been in this?
It's about 5 o'clock. You
Oh,
guys
no.
have been there for
An hour and a
I'm
half.
You've
sorry.
been playing for an hour and a half, but you guys have been in this area since about 2. It's been about 3 hours.
God, 3
It's
hours.
rounding about 5 o'clock now.
We're all so
What'd you get?
hurt.
No.
No? Okay.
All right, for it's her turn. Come on, please.
All right, Betty boy.
Please.
So how many people are still chained? We
Still
just
chained,
so-
but out of the eyelet.
We'll do 12.
Yeah, my hands are still behind my back,
Okay.
but I'm
Well, I will
not
try and
stuck in the
free-
ground.
I'm gonna try
Free
and
her.
free.
She's
yeah,
tried so hard.
Poor sad one over there.
I'm sad.
Hey, okay, that's fine. Flaccid 20.
Plus 20?
Yeah.
You
Oh, sorry, Flaccid 22.
being able to see your hands makes it so much easier. You just grip and just pink.
Yeah.
It just very easily just bends and it snaps off.
Do
and
me,
your
do me.
Hands are
Do me.
All right.
Please.
you can try on them as well.
Okay,
I was
great.
gonna say, Lyra
without
probably just got
like
out
being
out
like
of
that
spite
guy,
and
it's like,
that
hey, can I
was
just break everyone's chains? Can I just break
You
everyone's
can,
chains?
yeah.
Please.
Just roll, yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
May I have
Okay,
some
great.
tea?
That
got
is
another
a
20.
22.
22.
22. You snap Esmenee the same way.
Like
Esmenee
shuffle
immediately
over.
gaps.
17.
17. Just barely. It takes a second. I mean, you're kind
Your
of
hands
like
hurt.
worn out
You've
from
done it,
breaking
yeah.
those chains,
Oh,
and your hands are kind of like numb. But you are able, like, you take it, you were struggling for a second, you put it over your knee, and snap those
All right,
chains.
so
Your boy needs a bath. I'm
it
just
would
saying.
be extremely not good if we ran out of here and then still couldn't use our magic. So do we have any kind
We
of...
have to get to that
He
box.
got the thing lit up.
That chest.
He did like the thing, the ball.
The
The
rock.
rock, the rock. I let my pet rock.
Yeah!
Rocky.
Rocky?
I'm very unintelligent.
SpongeBob.
This
The pet rock episode.
Can we get into the chest or is it locked?
The chest is no longer in there.
Yeah, we need to
Well,
find my holy symbols in that chest. We need to
Good.
find
You took my book. You took my friend's dead skull.
We could
needs a
easily
name.
run out of here and try, but we don't know where anything is. We don't know the way out. We don't have magic.
We
What
can.
else are we gonna
have a
do?
safe bet that most of them are at the fire. So hopefully they're a little bare
could try-
bones
Preoccupied.
here. Yeah.
Or we could just sit here like we have been for the past 3 hours, just being sad.
I love Esmenee's attitude this game.
Steady.
You guys begin to see that the sun is setting. It's no longer dark because of the smoke in the air. The sun
So
is
we agree.
starting to set. I say now it's probably 6:30. You guys have just been chilling. First breaking chains. And
I take the chain with the little
Breaking chain.
thing and I wrap it up like a
Taking
rope and I like put it on my belt.
okay.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and add chain to it. It's an improvised weapon, so it'll be a D4 of damage plus your strength modifier.
Okay.
You guys, can everybody make a perception check for me again?
I don't want to use my dice.
There you go. You want to win?
I'm mad.
5.
I'll go around the table.
Fuck yeah!
What'd you get?
Perception, right?
Has everybody got a nat 20 so far?
All right.
That's 22.
So Esmenee, what'd you get?
At least
21.
18.
12.
5.
22.
Oh man!
Here you go.
I'm like, gee.
Wait, what's my perception? So that makes it 24,
You're like,
baby.
Yeah.
I got a 19 on this.
There you go. One of
Everybody,
these dice that doesn't belong to you. That's
everybody
the key.
but Peren. You guys begin to hear like screaming.
Oh.
Everyone but Peren.
Like,
Peren doesn't hear the
What are you guys looking at?
Torm?
you guys,
Peren
like,
is busy praying.
it's not
Yeah.
super loud, but it is off in the distance. Everybody who rolled over a 20, which I think you guys, right? You can catch some of the words that are coming as soldiers are running by you. And you guys can hear like them like grabbing their arms and the clacking of weapons and metallic armor running. You guys hear like very few words, but one of them is the Fae. And like the clacking of armor again, and they're attacking. And,
It serves them.
Do what you want.
Fucking right.
Do what you want.
and at this point, you guys can no longer. Actually, you guys who rolled over 20 again, you also notice that the smoke smells different. It was like a woody kind of smoke coming from the forest. Now it just smells like black smoke, like tar burning almost.
We need to get out of here now.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep.
We gotta get
Pren,
the
are
back
you
door.
okay? We
I
need
don't
to
know what's
leave.
going on. I'm ready.
Can you run?
There's smoke. People
Yes.
are yelling.
Okay.
I'm
I
good.
don't know if you knew that.
I wasn't
Torm
sure
said
how
cool.
dead you were yet.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm trying to be
I'm good.
patient, so I'm just gonna wait.
I'm
Sure.
patient
Chill.
enough.
The 3
It was
hours
gone.
that I've just been sitting here.
Okay.
You guys hear a
Don't have any healing potions for you.
loud just boom, and from your so if you guys are facing the door, it's from the left side outside. Just an enormous explosion. You don't hear too many soldiers though, and you can hear a few footsteps coming outside, and then there's like a kicking at the door. Just and the door like flings open, and there are two, let's say, moderately dressed people. There's an elf. He's got like really, really dark skin. You can tell he's a drow, like a dark-skinned drow. And there's another one. He is a like a half-elf almost. He looks more elfy than half-elf, but his ears aren't really that pointy. And they are both holding like a portable battering ram almost. It's like small, and they knock that door down. And behind them, you can see a woman standing there. It's behind the battering ram, so she's obviously like in command of this operation. She's got like a wooden mask on. It's got a. Actually, can you guys make another perception check for me?
That is a flaccid 23.
And a 9.
16.
11.
That is 13.
13, just Esmenee. It's pretty dark outside, so it's hard for you guys to see.
You mean dark vision?
What you guys can see is that there is fire on some of the walls outside, like on some of the walls of the fist enclosure. Enclosure? Whatever. Esmenee, you see on this woman's mask there is a dragon carved into it. It's not like a face, but it's like its tail swirls up, and then its eye is where this woman's eye is, and there's another eye here, and she's looking through it.
Dragon lady.
You also notice that she's got like decently
Feral
long,
vigilante dragon.
braided red hair,
It's Volca.
and she's got like iron, like metal armor on, but it's got like tufts of fur around it. You can definitely see that's like an improvised thing, and she's holding 2 battle axes.
We love her.
She a
Oh, what
human?
a queen.
Is she human? You can't tell from your perception check. You can't tell.
Quinn instantly like hops back like up to her feet.
Yeah. These the drow and the half-elf man like walk into the room. You can see them place the they place the battering ram thing on the ground. You can see they have several bags on them, like large backpacks. One has like a smaller pouch. It's blue and it's got like a brown like thread around it. Their armor is kind of patchwork and haphazard, but it is like effectively leather armor.
Sure.
They both have 2 swords on their sides, and this woman walks into the room, and now you guys can see she is a woman, and she's standing there, and she is a woman. I meant to say she is a human. She is a woman. She like snaps and turns around, and you hear like the clanking of armor, and 2 fist soldiers are running towards her. One goes at her with the spear. She parries it up, takes the guy's legs out, and smacks him down, cutting him like in the side, like in the rib
Is it
area.
like the Mandalorian chick?
Kind of.
Which one's the
And then
dope Athena chick?
the next one goes to like stab at her. She uses the axis curve right here. She uses the inlet to bring it to the side and just lops his head right off.
Love her.
And they both fall to the ground. And she turns in and she goes, Peren, we need to go. Friends, come.
Wait, when?
That's we're gonna take a break.
Hold up! Hold up!
I'm gonna fucking cry.
You have some
I'm
explaining
gonna
to do.
fucking cry. I'm not telling you guys.